now the beam has gone off. You today. A lot of kids are looking for their big break, and one is going out on trial. Can you just tell me what is needed to get a trial at a club like yourselves, and just tell us what the process is and what, as a scout, you look for in a player?
So in terms of I'll start with the process. So obviously, Premier League club, Category 1 club, you do have an extensive network of scouts. So we scout throughout throughout the whole country, to be fair, because when you can move kids and put them in schools and whatsoever. So obviously we've got scouts and we've got area managers that come into myself, Jamal, Colin Barnes. So literally with that, let's say for example, a scout goes and sees you on the weekend, and then I'll go through our grading system in a couple of seconds. He sees you on the weekend. Sometimes scouts may feel like you're good enough for a try this game, or once in a while a scout might pick up the phone and say, this kid's a worldie, we must get him into our group straight away. And then from there, the kid would then come into us. Just going through the grading system quickly, we do it 3 sevens. There's still the same thing that you probably know about it. So how they take and deal with the ball, what's their spirit like. So how they take and deal with the ball, technical ability, your passing range, your dribbling, X, Y, and Z. Your spirit like. So are you quiet? Like when things don't go your way, do you give up? Or are you a fire? Are you going to be a leader? And then the last one is like how are they physically, how they move. Do they have long strides? Are they quick first 5 yards? Does it take them time to come into their running? Are they agile? Can they move left? Can they move right? How quickly can they do things? So that's how we grade it. So them 3 things we grade it out of 10. So if we deem, if a player scores 21 altogether out of 30, basically that scout deems that player good enough to play for Crystal Palace's academy. I think the number is kind of 23, around 23 now, as like the level of coaching has increased and sort of the players' level has sort of gone up over the years. So I personally don't think it's 21. So if a scout scores a player from 24 to 21, 19, 20, 18, then we sort of look to get that player sometimes once in a while straight in, or once in a while to a try this game, or maybe an in-house game, academy versus try this mix, or whatever side you're playing on, and then it's all about that player sort of producing again in our environment, sort of that elite environment. Can he handle the pressure? Can he take on board information? Is he coachable? If them things then fit the bill, then that player would sort of look to progress on to have an every trial. But I think for myself, how I sort of look to scout players, what I learned a few years ago is super strengths and strengths. So not looking at what the player can't do, because too many people look at what players can't do. It's easy enough to point saying, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, you'll never make it X, Y, and Z. But the player can do many, many things. And I remember Sam Thompson, that coach, said it, can you turn that strength into a super strength? So for someone like Emmanuel, when Emmanuel played against the college side I have, his strength is speed, definitely 100% speed. He runs like Kylian Mbappe. You can't catch him when he's through and go. Defenders is a nightmare, to be fair. And it's about turning that strength or speed into a super strength. So making him the fastest player in the country on the pitch wherever he plays. That every time the defenders know, if I give him a yard, I'm in trouble. Making that into a super strength where he can go on to have a career. So that's what I sort of think of. So when I look at a kid, I close my eyes and I think, how can this kid play in our first team, or what would he do in our first team? Some people, like for example, you might know a couple of kids who you think to yourself, how are they in the system? This is a very unusual, very, very one that's repetitive. But some kids are very, very, they're sort of a bit overweight, but their ball striking is, I would say, the level of their ball striking is exceptional, to be fair. Where set pieces, you know, if the kid takes a free kick, you know it's going to go in. If it's a corner, you know where the ball's going to land. Dead ball specialists, to be fair. So, them type of players. So that's how that kid will get into the first team, because you know that if it's Crystal Palace versus Everton and there's a free kick and this kid comes up and takes it, it's most likely going to go in, and that would enable us to get the 3 points. Again, keeping everyone in the job at the end of the season at X, Y, and Z. I hope you just get what I'm saying.
I think my question is, and I'm going to bring Emmanuel on as you just mentioned him. But a lot of people will say, well, I've been playing football since I was 4 years old. I've worked my way through. I play with some of your academy players at school. I know I'm better than them, but for some reason, due to maybe the area I'm from, due to maybe a scout not potentially coming to watch my games, that's the reason why I'm not getting through. So I want to know, is in an academy system, is there a sentimental approach? Because I've got Emmanuel, and Emmanuel, I'm going to bring you in, I think, right now. You know, Emmanuel, do you feel that there is a sentimental approach amongst players? Because you're a very good striker. I think you're probably one of the best unsigned under-18 strikers. Why can't you get into Crystal Palace Football Academy then?
Well, like, first of all, I have to give credit to the strikers. The strikers are really good. I've played them before. I was at Crystal Palace before myself. The strikers are quality. And it's a thing where when players, I feel like when you have to go into a academy, you have to be better than what they have. You can feel like I'm better than this person by just a bit, or I really have a bit more tech, but he's better physically. For them to consider, you have to be better than them all the way around. Because for me, is clubs don't want to take in a might, or they don't want to take in a thing where this person can be good, or we can give him a chance. I feel like they want a certain possibility, and that's where kind of the problem is. Because as far as I'm concerned, you can have a lot of mights and could-be's, but academies need to learn that sometimes you got to give people chances, because it's not all the time you're going to find someone that's always going to meet your standards. Sometimes you have to work with them for them to get where you have to be. That's what I'm saying.
And I think that's great because, and I think it's great because you say the word chance, and I think that word, I think in the current climate of football is not happening. But Clinton, you obviously work with and associate with a lot of grassroots teams. A lot of them obviously around the new fan craze of the YouTube football, but also you work with obviously teams in the grassroots sector. Do you share the sentiment of Ade and Emmanuel that your chance will come if you're talented?
I think that's it's kind of a cliche old school way of looking about it. Now, as you said before, like, people are now making their own opportunities, their own things happen by themselves. So I feel like online is the new equalizer, if you like, in terms of getting found and seen. You know, people are uploading their clips, people are inviting people down to come watch their games, and people are becoming overnight successes. So the whole, you know, people come to you, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. You know, you could bag, 30 and people, your name will start ringing bells. But what are you doing to do that extra mile just to make sure that people are aware of you? How are you marketing yourself? How are you promoting yourself? I mean, the obvious example is Rising Ballers right now. Do you know what I mean? They've had 9 players, I think, who've been signed through, that have come through their books, if you like. So, and obviously their stuff is very prominent online in terms of getting their players out and all the rest of it. And, you know, they've gone on to sign on to pro contracts and all the rest of it. So I think a lot more teams and a lot more academies will be taking this approach as well.
Ade, do you respect, teams like Rising Ballers who don't really play their football in the traditional way of scouts coming down? They want people to watch their football via YouTube. Would you send your scouts to Rising Ballers to scout a player?
I actually like what Rising Ballers do a lot. You know, I find that I'm subscribed to their YouTube channel, and you know what? I really agree with the way they do things. Again, I'll touch on the thing later. What they do basically, they're finding another way around the problem of getting kids into football clubs, and I think of it as it's fantastic. As many like what they're doing is you're basically giving these kids a chance that they wouldn't have had before, and that's another kid doing something positive in life. So what Rising Ballers are doing is really good. Like, I think they played Huddersfield a couple of weeks ago. They went to go play Huddersfield. They're drawing attention, and what they're doing is good, and they're giving kids the opportunity. And I think what Clinton was saying as well about how, like, the online presence and whatsoever, I think a lot of people are taking it into their own hands to provide opportunities. For instance, what's one? I even relate it back to myself. Like, funny enough, a parent come and was sort of in the position, under 16s football is finished. I don't know what to do. X, Y, and Z is going on. I haven't got a scholar. Just the same position as man. This kid's a first year, and then his things. I found up a good friend of mine, and then we actually ended up sort of coming together to set up something similar to Rising Ballers, where the kids sort of like full-time football education, where the kids still have that second chance and still get that nurturing. And I think that's one thing that sort of that the kids need. So when they get that chance, that they're ready. I know it's a bit off topic, but it sort of just links to what Rising Ballers are doing. Again, another way of tackling the problem, where the kids that we have now, I think, like I was saying before, in the space of 2 months, 15 of them have gone into pro clubs, one is signed. It's just about giving them that one opportunity, because unfortunately, as you know yourself, Alex, not all scouts are sort of going to be sort of ready to come to us. Some scouts, you know how they are, a bit sort of like hard-headed. They don't want to work with certain types of people. I don't know why. So we have to sort of we have to do everything in our power. And especially when the mum called me, someone like me, I would like to think I'm a bit sort of, a bit cold-hearted whatsoever. But to be fair, it's total opposite. The mum called me, I need help whatsoever. So I remember I sat down for hours and I thought to myself, I can't leave this kid. Like, how do I help this kid? I must do something. And in terms of helping that kid, we're now helping another 40-something kids live that dream, just like the Rising Ballers one. At the end of the day, every kid wants to be a footballer. That was my dream. Manny, I know that was your dream as well. Manny Roby, that was probably most kids' dreams. We dreamed of being footballers. Obviously, problems happened. I still think I should be playing pro in the Premier League. It all happens, maybe Championship. But if you can help a kid find a way to achieve his journey, then it's still the same thing as playing pro. And I think that's what Rising Ballers are doing. That's what many people. Alex, like you've done it yourself on one side as well. Like Yaku Traore signed at Middlesbrough. If Yaku Traore lives probably 10 minutes away from me. Yaku Traore lives about 10 minutes away from me, and he signed at Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough is where my grandmother lives in Newcastle. Good 6 hours away. Good 6-7 hours away. Just like if you didn't have that program set up now to combat the issues and problems of like clubs not being able to get their people being hard-headed, Yaku Traore would not have had that opportunity. So just like
definitely.
And as you've just raised that, and I'm going to bring Iman in just very, very shortly. But the thing I wanted to say is that we, as Onside, obviously, you know, from the footballing world, we're classed as a showcase academy. I like to say otherwise. But from, I think, and I'm sure Iman will probably testify to this as well as you, do Crystal Palace acknowledge like organisations like us as an avenue to recruit players?
You know why I say that, because fun enough, even they do one, because obviously I'm there and it's my job as well, and then academy manager supports it as well, head of recruitment supports it as well, Jamal, everyone supports it. We had from just like yourselves as well, we had one of the players I have, an under 17, come from again playing college football. He came into us on a Wednesday. He had a 2-week trial under 18s. Obviously, under 18s are top of the Premier League, the Southern Premier League. So is that we know that there's gems everywhere. Just that the fact that he's playing college football for me on a Wednesday doesn't mean he's not good enough. Just the fact that a kid's going to showcases doesn't mean he's good. Doesn't mean he's not good enough. But you know, one thing I've seen now is that I think private academies are taking over. One thing, because I dislike dealing with grassroots clubs. Like, I think some of the managers, you know, managers want to win. They want to win. They don't want to let go of their best players. And it is the biggest hate I had. The biggest hate. So obviously,
I think one question though. What's the biggest like challenge that you've had dealing with a grassroots club?
Yeah. They don't want to let
in terms of getting a player in.
They don't want to let their players go. You don't have to do 7-day approach. You don't have to go through this avenue, that avenue. It's giving the kid an opportunity to change his life. Opportunity of excellent coaching facilities, going to games away. It's a memory that stays with the kid forever. And because you want to win on a Sunday, you want to win on a Sunday at some bogus field with no grass, just mud. You're going to stop the kid from the opportunity.
Clinton might dispute that. Clinton, you don't dispute, so I'm going to bring you on because I know you probably would dispute what you just said.
Well, yeah, my eyebrows are raising. Listen, I can see it from both sides of the coin. Like, of course, it's a great opportunity, and I've seen some clubs kind of dispute that and say, look, this player's not allowed to leave till this certain time of the season.
Yeah.
rest of it. And I've got to disagree with that. But I often ask, what does the club get out of it? Yes, it's great. It's a great story that my little Sammy has gone on to play for Crystal Palace and all the rest of it now. But then sometimes the club gets left in the lurch. Do they get any sort of support? Do they get any financial support? Do you know what I mean? How do they get support? Because obviously, yes, they lost